Welcome back to the class, everyone. We just got finished with 6 hours of live streaming and testing a lot of different comps in the Naboo raid at various relic levels. So what I want to do today is go through the 5 teams that we found the most success with that won't just have high scores at relic 9, but something you can get away with at relic 3 or even 5. So, just revamping, we're going to be going over the top 5 teams to use in the raid, and again, this is going to exist at any level. One of the small downsides of the raid I did find is that there isn't a lot of ways to make different budget squads if you don't have the proper characters. We'll get into that more as we dissect each one of these, but it is something that we need to understand up front. The first team I want to talk about is the Lumar Kit Fisto team. I will tell you, with pride, this team is fantastic. And for those of you who are a little weirded out by the fact that I'm so excited about this, it's because I have wanted Lumar to be good for so long, and I can finally say with confidence she is. I do really love this team in particular. You do need Lumar and Kit Fisto on the same team because of a lot of the raid mechanics. They specifically want you to have a character with potency up, along with a character with healing over time, which the two of them get that combo. Once you have that, you start to deal a massive amount of true damage, which you can just start taking out the entire wave of B1s at a time. We're not going to be showing any footage in this exact video because I want to do more detailed videos on each team with footage later. This is more just so an overview for the people who didn't want to watch 6 hours worth of footage. But that being said, we want the two of those characters at a minimum, but I really love Grandmaster Yoda to be added to this team because with his battle meditation, he's going to be able to continually spread those healings over time and potency up. Not only is that nice just because, you know, those are more buffs out, but it prolongs the amount of time that you can use that true damage and really take out the enemy team. So overall, just a great combo. And one of the really, I guess, really nice things that goes on top of this is essentially the Lightspeed bundle team. If you bought the Lightspeed bundle for 20 bucks, you have this team. Maybe Grandmaster Yoda is at a lower relic level, but you would have been able to get him with the 5 characters, and the remaining 4 were actually in the pack itself. QuiGon Jinn is flex, I guess I will say that. We did use him just because of the overall splits that we're going to be talking about here as a whole, but you can, with the squad, get up into like the 75 percentile range for each of the levels. Again, I'm only working with relic 5s because that's where my characters are at, but still, that's maybe not the best score when you're looking at everyone else getting max crates, but overall for relic 5, that's really good, and it does scale better as things go along. Now, the second Galactic Republic team that we were able to make after we devoted all the characters over there is Kelleron back with Ki-Adi-Mundi. Now, I do like Shaak Ti here specifically, and Mace Windu as well for the overall survivability. I did try with some like weaker Jedi like Eth Koth and Qui-Gon Jinn to see if we could prolong it, and in reality, without the extra survivability from these two, we died off rather quickly. By adding Cam in there, and then as well with Ayla and Shaak Ti being support characters, they were dealing even more damage, but even without all that true damage from Kit Fisto and Lumar, we were able to still put up some pretty good numbers. Now, I will say, even with my characters being locked at Relic 5 here, or at least Ayla, I had to go down to the Relic 3 marker to be able to max the score because when I was trying at a higher level, they were dying. Once we perfect mods, and I really didn't move mods around much at all for the raid. I think I moved them off of Maul and Kit Fisto just to be able, so they could have real mods and not just the whatever was on them before. But at any rate, we were able to get the score very easily, and I think if we increase the mods and the relic levels, this will continue to track as things go on, and it'll allow us for a really nice split with the previous Lumar team. Now, I will say, if you really want to, you can take Ki-Adi-Mundi away from the second team and add him to the Lumar team, and you'll start getting closer to max scores rather than that of this kind of the 75%-ish area. But at the same time, I would rather get the 2 teams in the 900,000 range than get one in the 1,200,000 and the other one being a really, really bad score. So overall, that's kind of what we're doing with the overall GR Jedi. Next up is going to be this Separatist team, and this was a little bit of a shock to me with the overall mechanics here. This one was just working amazingly well. Now, I do need to talk about one thing before we continue about how great it is that CG has already said they're investigating B2 doing as well as he is. And part of the reason for that is there is a modifier on the Relic 8 and 9 level that allows B2 to essentially reduce in rage, and what ends up happening is you can just kind of throw the whole team on auto and do really well. Well, even if you're not allowed into that Relic 8, Relic 9 area, this team still performs very, very well at the lower relic levels. Obviously, you can see we're all Relic 7 with very minimal remodding trying to get this to work. And really, the one sad thing about this is there's really no negotiable character here. And that kind of leads into my next point of, we tried several different comps. We tried B1 lead, we tried Newt lead, we tried the full droid team, we tried maybe one GR Jedi in there to be able to get tenacity down. All these mixed and matched, and the ultimate conclusion that we came to is, even if you're on a budget, 2 dark side teams just does not seem viable at this current time. Even if you literally only have 4 teams, you're probably better off making the super team, whether it be a Relic 5, Relic 7, Relic 3, and just getting them out there and trying to get the max score for the box available to you. Now, I did think the B1 was going to be better just because of the amount of healing that he gave, but ultimately, with the amount of AoEs that the enemy team does, he just dies instantly. We also pretty much have to have Magna Guard here because B2 consistently wants a Separatist ally out there to be taking damage, because if they're not, he will in fact not reduce his cooldowns. While he will still gain turn meter, and that's great, but we want him to also regain his cooldown so that he can keep using specials and keep calling in the 2 Sith allies, which really that's how this whole comp works. I guess I probably should have explained that towards the beginning. Every single time B2 goes from getting turn meter, reducing his cooldowns, uses a special, he'll call Maul and Sidious in, and they'll just keep doing damage over and over again. We also found that you really can't separate these 2 guys just because of the amount of things in Sidious's kit that is making Maul go crazy, and Maul ends up being the real damage dealer here. Everyone else on the team is just a catalyst for Maul to be able to take out the enemy team. Magna obviously serving the purpose of helping B2 out, and then Stop is actually keeping Magna alive. So very, very tight team there, but overall very good. Now, next up is going to be the Gungans, and I have some even better news to share with you guys about this. You'll notice we don't have Jar Jar here, and we did a lot of testing with no Jar Jar and no Bombardier Omicron. And the Gungans were consistently performing well at a lot of different relic levels. We tested them at 5, 7, and 8. I leveled them up through that same odds, same exact team, and they were consistently getting about 75% of the total max score, which again, at this first screen looks kind of underwhelming at only 900,000, but when you start to compare what it looks at Relic 8, having a 2 million score without having even Jar Jar unlocked, that's really awesome. One of the things that I like about this the most, that means of you out there who already did all the extra farming and accelerated things that happened with the Gungans and the bonus nodes they were on, if you already have them Relic 5 and you're considering taking them to a higher relic level specifically for the Jar Jar event, I would heavily encourage it, because even when you do that, even if the Jar Jar event keeps taking more and more time to come out, which it shouldn't, but even if it does, you're going to get a good ROI on Gungans even without Jar Jar, even without Bombardier Omicron. Now, for what it's worth, I have heard that you can actually max these score out if you have Bombardier's Omicron, even with Jar Jar, but I myself wasn't able to test that. As you can see, I do not currently have the Omicron applied. So overall, Gungans doing fantastic things with or without Jar Jar. They're really kind of at the top of their game. Now, next up, and this is going to be probably the saddest of all the teams, is going to be Queen Amidala and her boys or whatever. And pretty much what this ultimately comes down to is, if she has her Jedi friends, aka Qui-Gon Jinn and Padawan Obi-Wan, relicked up, the team is bonkers amazing. I've seen tons of screenshots of them at R8, R9, getting completely max scores, sometimes on auto with R2 and Mace's 4th and 5th, sometimes even undersized. The issue that I'm having, and you can probably already see where this is going by looking at my gear on Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, if you don't have Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, the team is really sad. We tried a lot of different variations, including stealing some of the better Jedi from the 2 previous Jedi teams we talked about with Luminar and Kelleran Beck, and it really just wasn't providing any really good results at all, even with Shakti and Mace. Even going down a level like we did with Kelleran Beck to try to get some more survivability, it didn't matter that we could keep surviving, we just couldn't kill them fast enough without Padawan Obi-Wan's damage. Now, sadly for me, and probably for a lot of people watching this that don't have the marquees built up, I'm probably still going to be using this team. I'm just going to be using it on a really low tier and having to take my 300,000 score for the longest time until I can finally get these 2 built up. It will happen eventually, but it's not going to happen for the majority of the raid. The nice thing, I guess, you know, the silver lining here, is the fact that the two of them are just amazing characters in general. So even if I only get to use them for a portion of the raid, I have the Assault Battle Dual Fates to look forward to for the rest of time, plus everything that they're doing in PvP. So that's really where everything stands right now from a team composition standpoint. I haven't really found in all of our testing that we did with the raid server, we weren't really able to find any other magical splits or options to try to make things more budget. I realize this does make things really difficult because we have a conquest character, we have brand new marquees, a lot of high relic levels. Cam himself is very hard to obtain, but it's just currently where the raid stands. Now, I will be hopefully following this video up with actual videos detailing how to use each one of these teams in the raid to get the maximum score, so you don't have to be trying over and over again, trying to figure out what the mods are. But until the next time, thank you guys for watching, and stay awesome.